Yeah. All right. All right. So just got on really quick. Don't want to be on here too long. Just wanted to share some things. Just came from Northside Hair Company and owners are Richmond and Jennifer Clark, and just awesome people, of course, and they're my friends, but they're just amazing people overall as far as business and a variety of other things. So while I was in there, I was just inspired to just share some stuff because sometimes vision is cast and you dream about different things and you're excited about what's to come, but you don't really know what's going to look like, and so many things happen and take place, and you kind of battle back and forth as to should I do it, should I not do it, should I walk it out, and sometimes we come up with so many excuses as to why we shouldn't do it instead of really just laying out the reasons why God gave us the vision in the first place. And that's a big deal for me. And I've dealt with a lot of different things in my life. Like God has blessed me and my wife to start businesses, ministries, church. I mean, there's a lot of things that God has blessed us to be able to do. But typically, when it's planted in our hearts to do it, when the seed is there, there's always something that tries to get us to think about all the reasons why we shouldn't. And it's human nature to think about all the negative things. Now, don't get me wrong. When you're planning, obviously you have to think about some of the possibilities of how things flow and what wouldn't work and all that stuff. But I think that a lot of times we just use those excuses to not do something. I'm just going to take a guess, and I'm pretty sure there's several people who are even watching this live video that you've wanted to start some stuff for years and you didn't do it. And at the time, you thought your reason or your excuse, as I would call it, was good enough as to why you didn't. And again, I don't know everybody's situation, but I talk to so many people who say, well, yeah, 10 years ago, I was going to do this, or 5 years ago, I was going to do that, or a year ago, I was going to do this, and they never try. And the truth of the matter is that if you don't try, it definitely won't work. Now, it might not work when you try it, but you know for sure it won't work if you don't try it. And so, um, I just really was thinking about that because I was at Northside Hair Company and I remember it. I won't give their testimony, but I'll let them do that. But I just remember when they were dreaming about, owning their own shop, owning their own salon, owning their own business, their own company, and so what's amazing is that it's going to be even bigger than they can imagine, and it's already done so many great things in such a short amount of time. But I was thinking about it while I was there because I remember some of the things that would be roadblocks to them moving forward potentially. And they really just stepped out on faith in a variety of ways and just did it. And so they really are one of the present day examples as I can use for that. But I really didn't get on to talk about them. They just were my inspiration for doing the video. I really wanted to take a moment to talk about my mom. And anybody who knows me, you know how much I love my mom. But what you might not know is that she's not only inspired me, in my faith, to live for God. She raised me up right and just took care of me and my sisters and brothers in an amazing way. But not only that, she gave me something that I'll never forget, and that was, how to persevere and how to be tenacious and how to continue on. Like when you believe in something and you believe it's right, even when it gets difficult, to keep moving forward and to not give up. And so, just to kind of give you her story briefly, my mom, she dropped out of high school, and eventually, she did some nursing and things like that for some years. But one of my favorite stories is when she started working for Structo. It was called something different before that, but Structo, and then eventually it was called Thermos. But she started working there, and there was a particular position that was available, and nobody thought that she would get the position. As a matter of fact, they were like, a woman probably won't get the position, let alone a black woman getting the position. And so there were so many people who thought she shouldn't even like attempt to interview or to do it at all. But to make a long story short, she did it anyway because she believed in God and she believed in herself. She believed that she could get the position. And she ended up getting the position, and she had to deal with a lot of different, discrimination and so just some crazy stuff that took place when she was leading. But she kept leading and led with integrity and with hard work. And I mean, her work ethic was amazing, and she didn't have a college degree or anything, but she was leading that company in that particular department, and just God, just his favor was upon her life. But it was her, her perseverance to just keep going that was so amazing. But with that being said, she had to work through a lot, even on that particular job. And eventually, the company started laying people off, and they gave them an option to either, take a severance package or to go to school and some other things. But I remember my mom coming to me and my sister. Well, let me not leave out this part. I just want to because I run into a lot of single moms, and I know everybody's situation is different. But my mom, at the time, my dad was alive, but they weren't together, and my mom was basically a single mom. To be real with you, she was a single mom, and I mean, she held it down. Like, and I run into a lot of single moms and single dads, and I know it gets tough sometimes, but listen, you can't like reach out to everybody else and blame anybody else for the situations going on. You got to buckle down and say, hey, look, I'm going to handle this. These are my babies, And I bring that up because my mom was absolutely amazing. She not only taught us the ways of God, and she taught us how to read before we even got to school. She was, she taught us the scriptures, but she taught us good work ethic, how to be clean, how to keep a house clean, how to treat people, even if you don't know them, to be respectful. I mean, she was amazing. And the thing is, she was doing it by herself. She would work these 14-hour days, sometimes 16-hour days, consistently, Monday through Saturday, and make sure that we were at church on Sunday. And it just was amazing. And so I don't want to just spend too much time on that, but I just wanted to say that it can be done. You can do it. And obviously, we know the best case scenario is for mom and dad to be in the child's life if it's a healthy environment. But I just want to bring that up because a lot of times I'll hear people saying, it's not possible to do certain things because of being single, being a single parent. And obviously, the way that it's supposed to be, husband and wife together, glorifying God and being a godly example for their children. And that's great. But everybody doesn't have that situation. And so if you were born into a situation where you don't have a father around or a mother around, really honor the one that's really caring for you and really show a level of appreciation because it is hard work. But listen, it can be done. And so I really wanted to take time to kind of eliminate some excuses. And I heard a quote one time that says, when you're born, you look like your parents. You typically look like your parents. But when you leave here, you look like your decisions. And so it's really important that no matter what our situation was, that we don't use it as an excuse to not succeed, to not prosper, to not flourish. And so back to my mom, again, she didn't graduate from high school, and she ended up getting this position at this factory at Structo/Thermos. And I mean, listen, she flourished in it. She had to deal with, family and friends not being able to handle, her leadership position because she didn't play. I mean, when something needed to be done, she had to set people straight. She had to let people go sometimes. She had to just really be a leader. And she had to not let people take advantage of her because she was a woman and because she was Black. And so with that being said, the company ended up laying people off. And my mom came to me and my sister and she said to us, she said, listen, I'm on a mission. And she says, I'm never going to work in a factory again for the rest of my life. I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to get my education. And I don't know what's going to happen after that, but I'm never going back there and I'm going to be successful. I'm going to do some things. And I watched her go back to school. And when she gets to the campus, of course, when they pull up her records because she had got her GED and she had taken like a class or something like that. And they basically told her, ma'am, like, yeah, you didn't graduate high school. And then when you got your GED and you took a class, the records were so old that we don't even you need to start all the way from the beginning pretty much. And so she did. And she took class after class after class. And she would come to me to help her with different things that, I was in the grind. I was in the midst of it because I was young. I was in school. So everything was familiar. But you don't realize how hard it is when you've been out of school for 30 years. And, it's like everything is different. But she kept going, kept going, kept going, kept going, kept going. And pretty soon they were like, you know what? You got enough credits to get your associates. So she got her associates. Then she transferred. She got her bachelor's. And she just kept going and going and going. And eventually God blessed her to be able to become a substance abuse counselor where she's impacting people locally and all over the world. And that's a whole nother story in and of itself, how that whole process happened. And so I won't give too much detail about it, but God blessed her and she just kept going and going. And now she's been doing that for like 20 years now. And I'm just so proud of her. But also, I want to say she is an inspiration to me because she didn't use excuses to say, you know what, I got a tough situation. I got these kids. I got so many things. I mean, and along the way, so many crazy things happen. Um, her husband, my stepdad, Tim, he went into a coma after a major accident. My biological father passed away. Again, so many things happened along the way. I got into a major accident. A lot of this stuff was happening while she was in school, and she just kept going and going and going, and she did not give up. And, people always want to know who your heroes are. And I mean, there's so many people on television, but listen, my mom is my hero. There's entertainers, but my mom is my hero. She really, taught me what it meant to honor people, to honor God, and to never give up, to not quit. And here's the other thing I learned is to make sure that you always examine yourself. And I learned that from her as well, to just really examine myself. Even when somebody gives me an unsolicited or even a seemingly negative critique about something, even it doesn't mean that I need to stop, but I may need to just stop for a moment and consider what they've said, even if the source is somebody that I didn't want to hear it from. I learned that as well. I also learned how to make sure that I don't allow for other people's failures to make me afraid to try. Because even when she was applying for the position that I told you about, there were other people who wanted it, other people who tried, other people who failed. But I learned that you don't base your success off of what did or did not work for somebody else. And so I just want to just eliminate some excuses for some people today who are looking to do some stuff, and you've given yourself so many reasons as to why you shouldn't do it. Listen, it may not work out the way you want it to, but the one thing you will be able to say, you tried. It wasn't just some dusty dream that was sitting back in the corner. I see people online right now, and I know that people who are listening to this live video, I know there are things that's on the inside of you that you're like, you know what, I should have done this a long time ago. For some of you, it's books. For other people, you were supposed to start a ministry or maybe even go into full-time ministry. For others, it was you're supposed to be an event planner, or you are launching a business, a hair salon, or another company, whatever it is. Just stop being afraid of walking into it. Now, here's the thing. There's going to be times where it gets scary, because I know a lot of people will tell you, well, if it's fear, maybe it's not God. No. That's why we have courage. Courage is critical. Fear can be there, but courage is the key. Like, you can be shaking in your boots and still move forward, but don't let that fear stop you. One of my favorite passages of scripture, when in the story of Gideon, when he's stripping off people from around him to say, you don't need that many people to do what I've called you to do. One of the areas that always gets me is when the people who are afraid, he says, when they turn around and go back, those people, they shouldn't go with you either. And I'm like, well, I don't understand. Like, why is it that God would have the people who were afraid and went back not be with Gideon when the leader was afraid himself? And the difference is there are those who are afraid but keep going, and those who are afraid and turn back. And I just believe that if you're on this live video, that God has given you something to walk out. And maybe fear has been holding you back, but it's okay to be a little afraid, but just go, just keep going, just keep going. It's okay. Trust God, seek God, ask him for wisdom, get around people who are already winning in the area that you're trying to win in. Connect with people who are already flourishing and are successful. Research, invest in yourself, consume content that's going to be encouraging and something that's going to really give you the information that you need. And last but not least, make sure you continue to remain humble, but keep being confident and working hard. Listen, you got to put in the work. Like, you can't just think it's going to happen overnight. One of my favorite things is when I run into a someone who is uh, a younger person in this age, because a lot of times our young people get a lot of they get a lot of criticism and stuff. But there's some good young people out there, and there's some that are tremendously lazy. I mean, I get it, but I love when I run into a young person that's like, I know that what I'm working on is not going to happen overnight, and I'm willing to put the work in. Man, I get excited when I see that, because I got to be honest with you, it does frustrate me a little bit when I run into someone that assumes that it's going to happen in a week or a month or whatever, and that happens sometimes. But at the same time, there's so many kids out there that are willing to put in the work. But also we, as those of us who are older and adults and have already walked some things out, we got to be willing to set the example and also to be patient as well. But anyway, I don't want to get off track. I'm just stirred up, and excited. There are people who are probably laughing at me right now because this video was supposed to be like 4 minutes long, and it's turned into more than that. But I just hope it was an encouragement to someone to just really, step up, move forward, and walk out the vision that God has given you, and to not be afraid. And here's the other thing too. I gotta say this. Stop reaching out to hundreds of people to discover. It's okay. Let me rephrase it. Sometimes we reach out to too many people because we want somebody to tell us not to do it so that we don't have to do it, when you already know you're supposed to do it. See, I got me started. Now I'm about to get all prophetic and stuff. I didn't get on here for that. I got on here because I just want to encourage some business owners, but I couldn't help myself that while I'm on here, I just believe that sometimes what we call wisdom is a way to excuse ourselves out of what God has called us to do. And I believe that we're supposed to seek counsel. I believe that we should surround ourselves with a multitude of counselors. I believe it's important. But sometimes we reach out to certain people because we know that they may tell us to hold off or to be patient. And you know that God has planted something in your heart that he wants you to put water on, or he's planted something in your heart that he wants you to put in the light, or he's positioned you to plant something that you're supposed to be the one to start. And we just find every excuse in the world not to do it. Nope. You already seen this video now. It's too late. It's too late. It's too late. So anyway, I'm about to get off, but if you have questions after the post, feel free to ask it. I don't have all the answers, but I'm just excited. I'm stirred up because I love talking vision. I love talking dreaming, but I also love talking getting rid of excuses as to why we're not doing it. Too many people are succeeding in far worse circumstances. Too many people are flourishing and they don't have near the resources that you already have, that you're already connected to. So no more excuses. That's it. Period. I think I'll leave it there. No more excuses. That's it. That might have to be what you say to yourself over the next month. No more excuses. Nope. No more. No more excuses. No more. I was born into the wrong family. Nope. 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 No more. I grew up in the wrong neighborhood. Nope. 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 Those are things that may have slowed you down, but can't be an excuse now. Time to move forward. Yep. Or maybe it doesn't matter what it is, honestly, And I want to say this too, because sometimes it's like, oh man, you don't know. Some people really had some hard situations. I'm tremendously sensitive to that. We minister to people all the time who started in some really tough spots. But you know what I found out? The people who are sometimes in the most difficult circumstances, those are the ones that flourish and on a greater level than those who are in situations where they have things that are handed to them. And I don't even want to get on that. Like this, oh my goodness. I need to stop because my wife and I was having this conversation the other day, how frustrated we are with the new whole, the new everybody gets a participation trophy thing. But that's another video in and of itself. But I'll leave that alone and I'll shut it down before I get myself in trouble. But God bless y'all. Please be praying for me. Have some amazing things on the horizon. God has been blowing my mind, teaching me and just making me over again. Please, please, if you think about it, if it comes to your heart and you're sitting there and you're like, God, what do I pray about? Pray for me. Pray for David Mark Coffey. Pray for me because God is doing some amazing things. But I want to remain humble. I want to be strong. I want to be bold. I want to be confident. But I always want to depend on the Lord. So God bless you. Pray for me. Thank you. See you later.